Carter Krishna are here for the Florida Squeeze. Really briefly today with an update, and then tomorrow we're assuming nothing dramatic happens. We're going to do a video on St. Lucie County, which is the county I've always considered to be the bellwether county in Florida. Not a county a lot of people think about, but it is the county that has been most indicative of statewide trends. Anyway, that's for tomorrow. For today, it appears the bleeding has stopped for Florida Democrats. And in fact, it's been a pretty good day for Florida Democrats, all things considered. There have been a little bit of a shaving of the margin in Miami-Dade County, just a little bit, but still a trend in the right direction. The GOP gains in Duval, Pinellas, and Hillsborough have stopped. And in fact, I've seen turnout numbers where the Democrats, even among their super voters, have a pretty high ceiling to go from here in Miami-Dade and Duval specifically. We've seen some pretty good Democratic turnout, again, relatively speaking, today in Palm Beach and Broward, which are, of course, two counties the Democrats need badly. In fact, the lead in Palm Beach County is now over 20,000 for the Democrats. It had crept under 20,000 a few days ago, and included in that is a turnout rate of over 50% now. So over half the Democrats in the county, in an important county, third largest county population-wise in the state, have now turned out. Broward County's turnout rate is now about 45% among Democrats. And again, that is the most important county for Democrats in Florida. Second largest county in the state. That's where Fort Lauderdale is. And Hillsborough, which is where Tampa is, Pinellas, where St. Petersburg is, and Duval, where Jacksonville is. We've seen the GOP trend that had been going on really for 9 days stop. And we've seen 9 successive days of GOP growth to where they went from being 6 points down statewide to 12 points up statewide over a 9-day period. So on average, they were gaining 2 points a day in that 9-day period, if you just look at ballots cast by party, taking the NPAs out of this. And that has stopped today. In fact, the Democrats have picked up a tenth of a point or 2/10 of a point or so statewide thus far with the numbers I've seen. In some of the rural counties, turnout has flatlined completely. The rural counties that are heavily Republican in Western Florida and in North Central Florida. And then in terms of what we call our exurban counties, places like Pasco, Flagler, St. John's, they are continuing to record Republican gains there, but smaller gains than what we have been seeing throughout the last 9 days. And in fact, we're beginning to see NPA numbers creep up. For example, NPAs now comprise 21% of the electorate in Pasco County. They're still only at 16% in St. John's, which is a critical county I mentioned. But they're now over 20% of the electorate in Volusia County. That's something we were waiting to see. Another county, Volusia, is where Daytona Beach is, by the way. The huge exurban area of DeLand is in Volusia County. St. Lucie County, which I mentioned at the outset of this video, the NPAs are still under 20%, but they're creeping up a little bit. They're at 19% now. They've been at 16 or 17. Democratic number there is 36. Republican number is 42. And as I said, that is kind of your bellwether county in the state. More often than not, far more often than not, votes with the winner statewide by roughly the same percentage. The one exception being the 2016 U.S. Senate race when it supported Patrick Murphy and Marco Rubio won statewide. But there was a little bit of a local angle to that. But generally, it is your bellwether, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Miami-Dade, real quickly, because I know that's something of major concern. NPA number continuing to creep up. It's up around 26% now by my estimate. And the fear was a lot of those NPAs were voting like Republicans, but it is also possible, like we're seeing in canvassing, in some of the canvassing that's come back and has the feedback that's been given to me, that NPAs are leaning Democratic in Pinellas, Hillsborough, Duval, Broward, Palm Beach. They always do in Broward and Palm Beach, and Orange, right? That might be a trend in Dade County. The Orlando area, Orange County has had all sorts of problems with access. There's not enough polling locations, early voting locations open in that county. But the Democrats' lead has now gotten up towards 37 or 38,000 NPAs, also comprising a bigger chunk of the electorate in Orange than they were at this time yesterday, and certainly at this time a few days ago. One last note that I think I have to mention: I didn't put much stock into the Puerto Rican off-color joke by the comedian that Trump had at his rally, although that rally was filled with everyone's focusing on that. There was a lot of other things that were very offensive that were said by other speakers and more prominent political speakers at that rally. But anyway, the focus, the national media attention, the feeding frenzy has been around the Puerto Rican comment. Now, I don't know this for sure, but there are people telling me that part of the bleeding stopping today for the Democrats and the potential reversal of trends in Miami-Dade and Orange specifically, and also Osceola County has one of the highest concentrations of Puerto Ricans in the country. And many of them are registered as NPAs, and now 25% of NPAs have voted. 25% of the electorate in Osceola County is made up of NPAs, which is much higher than it's been the last 2 days, is because of that it has stimulated some Puerto Rican turnout. I think it's too early to tell. I think it's far from conclusive, but as word of that has spread, the Republican gains have stopped. Could just be a coincidence, just could be the coincidence of timing. We're 6 days out from an election, but keep that in mind if the trend continues. We'll be back tomorrow to talk a little bit about St. Lucie County, as I mentioned.